The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio.
Coming up on the program today, we're going to discuss what you need to know before you decide to can, as well as 4 lawn mistakes that you might be making. As well as our guest, he is the co-owner of Phyllom bioproducts, a sponsor of the program. He will be with us, John Libbs, and will answer your garden questions. The hour is full, so join us.
You're listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to another edition of the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Thank you so much for being part of the program, taking time out of your day to join us. I am your host, Joey Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make your grass look greener, as well as preserving what you grow. Thank you so much, whether you're listening to us, tuning in on one of the 18 AM and FM frequencies, broadcasting our program here in 2024, through our radio app, through our parent website, maybe, which is the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, underneath the Season 8 tab at the top of the page, podcast replay, or in-studio video replay. Thank you very much. You want to be part of the program? You're welcome to do such. You can send us an email, gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. And you can drop us a line. Let us know where you're listening from. Send us a question. We'll answer that with the correct answer for your situation. Or you can give us a call 24/7, 365 at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. If we can't get to you, leave a message, and we'll call you back. Before we get in the program, Holly, it's time for this week's Joke of the Week.
Da-da! What do trees drink?
What do trees drink?
Root beer.
This week's joke is brought to you by Rescue.com.
Dun dun! The week's garden joke is brought to you by Rescue.com. American-made rescue products keep your family home and yard protected from pest insects like wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, fire ants, flies, and more. Learn more at Rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com.
Rescue.com. Well, many people each year about this time decide for themselves that they want to can. They want to put up some of the stuff in which you're growing or purchase at a farmer's market so they have some canned goods. However, you do a presentation locally on the knowing about canning and what you need to do to make sure it's safe. There's a lot of people and there's a lot of places online that give you very horrible and unsafe practicing methods in order to preserve what you're growing. Whether intentional or not intentional, it's bad information. We're going to set you straight so you have the right information and the right sources to go to in order to successfully can what you grow or purchase for storage over winter.
Yeah, so you want to have a trusted recipe. And so when I say that, I mean something that is within the past 10, 15 years or so. And then also that comes from a reliable source. So you might have, this is my great-great-great-grandmother's tomato whatever recipe, and it probably is safe, but maybe you do want to find a comparable recipe, which you can do so. There's many different safe resources. There's bulkcanning.com. There is a lot of times you can find master canners will have websites, like there's one out of,
Bay Area.
Yeah, California, SB, like Sam Barbie.com or canning.com. And then there's also like Taste of Home. There's Better Homes and Gardens. There's also a woman out of Pennsylvania, and she is under the name Food in Jars, and I believe she's a master canner, but she definitely has safe recipes. So, and you might go to your library and find these old cool canning books from like the 70s, and you want to make sure that you bump it up to at least probably the early 2000s at this point. So make sure you have a trusted recipe. The other thing is you want to make sure you have equipment. Now, you don't need to go and buy all the canning equipment. You can get started for very minimal, especially if you just want to give it a try with a couple pint jars. But what you do need is very helpful is a little canning toolkit. This is helpful because it comes with a headspace measure. It comes with a canning funnel, a jar lifter, and a little magnetic wand thing. And this is usually less than $10. And even if you don't can for long or can often, you can always have those tools around. We use the canning funnel for various things. It's just helpful. Like I have this glass jar that I keep my coffee in, and I just use that to fill it up. So it's very handy. So that's helpful to have that equipment. And then if you need something to process your jars in, you don't necessarily have to buy a canner. If you have a deep stock pot and you're just doing some pint jars, you can put some sort of maybe some old butter knives at the bottom. You need something that's going to give you space between the bottom of the pot to the bottom of the jars. So yeah, you can, and as long as you have a lid, you're good to go. So there's that, and obviously jars, and you can find those a lot of places. Then
yard sales, Craigslist. Back in the day, marketplace. Back in the day, you would get a good deal on canning jars, like $0.25 a jar, and now I think they're probably like $1 a jar now. But we would always go and buy everything they had. If they had 50 jars, we would buy 50 jars, whether all of them were good or not. How much for everything? And the person that was selling would always have the same response. You want to buy all of them?
And I just want you to heed caution. Make sure that if you are meeting somebody to buy these jars, meet them in a public place. I mean, I'm not saying that
bad things happen.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just be careful. So, I just wanted to be clear about that.
Or bring more than one. Just don't go by yourself. Whether you're a male or female, numbers is power. If you're going to go to somebody's residence to pick up jars, we've done that. This was years ago. We went to a lady's house, and she had him in the garage, and we both went together. So it was less creepy, I guess. Yeah. Long time ago. You don't remember this.
No.
You were there, though. It's less creepy than a man going to a woman's house or an older lady's house. Yeah. Or it's safer all the way around.
Right. So the other thing you want to do is read the recipe. So you might think, well, I read the recipe, but did you read it? Like, did you just glance at it? Because some of these recipes, especially for certain types of pickle type vegetables, relishes, you have to let stuff soak for sometimes 3 hours, sometimes overnight. So you might be like, okay, today's Sunday, I'm going to can this stuff real quick in the morning, and then I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do in the afternoon. And all of a sudden you read your recipe, and now you're canning at 9 p.m. at night. So you want to make sure that you read the recipe, and also because you want to make sure you have the right ingredients on hand. You might think, I need this type of salt or sugar or vinegar or something, and you don't. Or you might think, okay, yeah, I definitely have like a spare bottle of vinegar, and then you go and you realize that no, that spare bottle was the one that you just used.
And some of these, like lemon juice, just because it's lemon juice, they have expiration. Not necessarily it's best buy and no good after. This is a science. You need to have fresh produce. You need to have up-to-date ingredients: apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, sugar, flour. The newest you can, the best you have, because this, again, is a science. And if you have aged stuff, it's not going to do the best result and can cause issues down the road with the food doing sciencey things in the jar because of reactions, because of age of ingredients.
Absolutely. Another thing is you want to make sure that everything you have is clean. If you think about it, you are putting food into jars to be stored at room temperature. So you don't want any sort of cross-contamination. And also just make sure that you're not using metal, like stirring utensils, whatever, cooking utensils to can with. You want to make sure you use wood, plastic, or that like silicone.
Rubberish silicone stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Metal can cause a reaction to the produce in the canning process. And then when you are going to start filling the jars to put them in the canner, you want to work swiftly. something like tomatoes, if tomatoes get like over processed by a few minutes, that's not going to hurt anything. But jam, jelly can be sensitive to that.
This is not a run the clock out situation.
Right. And then also cucumber pickles, the faster you work, the faster you get them in the canner, out the canner, then that will help prevent a lot of the mushiness.
Well, there's a tip for you. If you can do pickles in pint jars rather than quart jars, that means less time, less heat, the more opportunity they're going to be more of a crisp pop rather than a okay pickle.
Right, absolutely. So that's another one. And then you want to warm your jars. You might think this step is not necessary, and that's not true. Why is that, Joey?
Because hot plus cold equals broken jar.
And you might think, well, these jars are room temperature. And yes, they are room temperature.
70 degrees.
70 degrees. And boiling water is 212.
212. That shows where you grew up at. 212. And you put those together, and no matter what, it's not a French press, okay? Right. These jars are not tempered to that type of level.
No, they're not tempered glass. It's cute that Joey knows what glass the French press is, because that's how I drink my coffee. So you want to make sure you warm your jars, and then trust your gut. If you're like, something feels off about this recipe, or something feels off about this produce, or how old, the expiration date has worn off of this ingredient. Guessing
is not a good solution here.
Like, I think I bought this last year, but I'm not sure. It might have been 2 years ago. And honestly, I feel like sometimes for me, I've lost some concept of time with the pandemic, not totally, but last year might actually be 2 years ago. So, so sometimes, especially when it's an ingredient that you don't use often, it's better to feel safe and sure versus being I'm not sure. So just keep that in mind. And then I would also highly recommend taking a canning class if you can find one. I don't know if there's online options, but I found them through my local recreation department. And honestly, that information that I only had to drive 20 minutes to get to the location, but I would have probably driven over an hour to get that information, because it was helpful.
So it's a science. It's okay not to know the answer. That's what we're here for. GardenTalkRadio@gmail.com. There's reliable sources. Now, a word of caution. If you're going to can, again, like you said, Holly, look over everything. If you have questions and you're uncertain, send us an email, gardentalkradio@gmail.com, and we will get you an answer timely as best we can. Do not send us an email and say, I'm in the middle of canning, I need an answer, can you get me? Because we may not have that availability, because we have lives too where we're not sitting in front of the computer 24/7 waiting for people to send us questions about, in the middle of their canning situation, I need to know about this. Just telling you, just being real with you.
Right. So trust your gut. So we are brought to you today by our sponsor, Walton's. We know you care about where your food comes from. Canning and preserving your fruits and vegetables is great, but what about the meat? At waltonsinc.com, you can get all the equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product your way to your high standards. Do you want to make snack sticks that people will actually like? Walton's created meatgistics.com, an informational site to help you make the best finished product. You can go to waltonsinc.com. They have a full line of meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers, and more to help you go from animal to edible, plus spices, all the good stuff. So if you use code GROW50, that's GROW50, you will save 10% off your orders of $50 or more at waltonsinc.com.
All coupon codes during the program can be found at our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, underneath the Money tab at the top of the page. Stay with us. We'll be right back momentarily. We'll be discussing 4+ mistakes that you can maybe making in your yard this year. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now, 1-800-927-SHOW.
Take the guesswork out of composting with the AeroBin 400 or smaller 200 for easy composting. The AeroBin mimics how nature decomposes waste. The AeroBin is easy to use. You prepare your balanced organic waste. Just open it up, drop it in, and close. After a short time, fertile compost is produced, which is easily accessed via the lower side door. The thermal insulation in the aerobin conserves heat, leading to rapid breakdown of the biomass and works efficiently year-round, even in cooler regions. There is no need to turn the biomass, and it is pet and rodent resistant. It has little odor and can kill annoying weeds and seeds. It is BPA free. The Aerobin 400 or 200 comes with a reservoir at the bottom to collect the leachate. When diluted, makes for great compost tea liquid fertilizer. Aerobin composts kitchen and garden waste quickly. Easy to assemble with no special tools needed. The Aerobin makes composting rewarding and easy. Go to burpee.com or homedepot.com to purchase. Make watering easy. DripWorks provides quality drip irrigation supplies and equipment to gardeners just like you for all your growing needs across the U.S. and Canada. Purchase online at dripworks.com. Wind River chimes will always be the inspiring harmony. With a large selection and customization options, you will find the sound that soothes you. Visit windriverchimes.com to shop and find out more. Mantis tillers, the premium long-lasting gas-powered tillers, are the perfect solution for any garden. This Mantis machine is available with 2 or 4 cycle engines with a 19-inch or 16-inch tilling width. Your DIY companion in your garden and your lawn converts easily for edging, aerating, and more with optional attachments. Find details at mantis.com. Make hand watering easy and enjoyable with HoseLink retractable hose reels. No more tripping over hoses, kinks, tangles, and avoiding rolling the hose up. With an automatic retractable HoseLink saves you time and effort manually coiling up your hose, leaving your focus on the things that will bring you joy in your garden. Available in multiple colors and lengths, you'll be sure to find the retractable hose that works for you. To find out more and to buy online via hoselink.com. Use coupon code radio10 for $10 discount, valid starting April 1st through May 31st. Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated seed company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use coupon code 10TG24 to save 10% off your order at jungseed.com. The coupon code is 10TG24 at jungseed.com for 10% off. Dig planting holes from a comfortable standing position. Step, twist, pull, and plant. Visit ProPlugger.com.
Water supply tanks provide BPA-free, long-term safe storage for drinking water. From 35 to 1,500-gallon tanks, Water Supply Tanks has you covered. From preparing for unexpected needs, off-grid property, easy gardening access, and more. For questions and to order, visit watersupplytanks.com and use coupon code GARDENING10 to save 10% off your order. Soil Diva Liquid Microbe Stimulant Spray improves the health of your plants you work hard to grow, stimulates the natural enzymes, and increases beneficial soil bacteria. Go to soildiva.net. Soildiva.net. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. Happy you've taken time out of your day to join us on the program. Moments away, we're going to talk about lawn care mistakes. But first, a word from our good friends at Honey Bee Healthy.
Since 2000, Honey Bee Healthy Inc. has helped beekeepers maintain healthy and thriving hives. Attracting pollinators to your garden this year is as simple as hanging a hummingbird feeder with a mixture of sugar, water, and Honey Bee Healthy Original. Don't be alarmed to see birds, bees, and butterflies dining together at the feeder. Pollinators coexist peacefully. Honey Bee Healthy Inc. is offering a 10% discount on an 8-ounce bottle of Honey Bee Healthy Original to this show's listeners. Enter code BEEGARDEN, that's BEE Garden at checkout. For more information, mixing instructions, and to purchase, visit honeybeehealthy.com. That was some jazzy music.
I always try to
it was like rocking and rolling.
I always try to bring it, girl.
Well, one thing that I shouldn't say we don't care about is our lawn, but it's not a high priority for us, but it might be a high priority for you.
It's an ecosystem. Yes. It's important. Doing things right in the yard can benefit the garden. Doing things wrong in the yard can hamper and hurt the garden.
So we're going to give some lawn care mistakes, and you can pick up or put back whatever you want.
Send us an email at Garden Talk Radio and tell us how silly we are about
gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Yeah. One of the big mistakes is cutting the grass too short.
Yeah. So what happens is when you cut the grass too short, it often will make the grass feel like it's being under attack, essentially.
Correct.
I shouldn't say under attack, but it's
Stressed.
Stressed. Yeah, there we go. That's the word. And so when you cut it too short, you want to make sure that you don't do that. You're stressing out the plant. Just like any plant, you cut it too short, it's thinking, okay, survival mode, I need to do something, and it might die, it might, I don't know, whatever. It might be, oftentimes it could become vulnerable to pests and problems. So you want to make sure you keep it at, what is it, 3 inches? 3 inches
for typical residential Midwestern lawns, and that covers a lot of us of you are listening, about 3 inches high. Taller grass should be cut, kept to keep the weeds from going to seed, and about 3 inches. You may think that's very high because growing up on the farm, if we cut it low, that meant we didn't. The more lower we cut it, which really wasn't grass, it was just whatever grew in the yard. The longer it took before we had to cut it again.
Right.
Lawn was not a priority, but lawn may be a priority for you. And there is some who have and take much more pride and time manicuring their lawn than a vegetable garden.
Now, on the flip side of that, you can cut it longer. It might not look as appealing, and during the very, very heavy mosquito times a year, there's a chance you could breed more mosquitoes because they will hide and nest, especially if it's a wet summer and the water kind of pools in the grass. So keep that in mind too. With that being said, you want to make sure you're not mowing with dull blades, because again, if you are mowing with dull blades, you're stressing the plant out. And you don't want to do that. Being
less efficient as well, because you're not cutting the plant, you're gnawing the plant. Yeah. It's like trying to cut through your steak with a butter knife. It doesn't do very well, and you do a lot more tearing than you do cutting. So it's a small investment in order to get your blades sharpened, whether you do it safely or you take it somewhere. And if you do take it somewhere, look for your local independent lawn care. Not the big store or anything like that. Local independent. Give them some of your support, and it will not only help the grass grow better, it'll make it look better, and it will make the machine run more efficiently and effectively.
Absolutely. So another one is watering too much or too little, assuming you want to water your yard.
And we've all seen this.
Yeah.
That we drive down the road and there's more water in the street and on the sidewalk and the driveway than there's going in the grass.
Or it's raining and you go past a business and their sprinklers are going.
And there are some cities and municipalities where that is a big no-no. That is a fine. You do not do that. You might much rather lose your firstborn at the mall than you water the lawn at certain times of the day.
Right. Absolutely. So you just want to make sure that you are paying attention to your watering schedule.
Timers.
Now
they got the ones that are so sensitive that if it's forecasting for rain, it won't water. It knows if it's raining, it won't water. Now, obviously, there's a financial investment to that. But if you are looking for a specific type, there's sub-irrigation methods. They're above ground. There's the ones. There's all kinds of water.
Yeah.
So...
Or you'll go past a business and they're watering the sidewalk, 90% of the sidewalk and 10% of the grass. So, yeah. Using the wrong fertilizer along with applying too much fertilizer. So you might go to your local big box store and you're like, this is grass fertilizer. This is what I need. And the cashier doesn't care what you buy for your yard. So you want to make sure you buy the right fertilizer for what your grass type is, and or if you're having some sort of issue that you want to help take care of. And if you use too much fertilizer, this is not a situation where like a lot is good and more is better, because you're basically over fertilizing your grass. The soil is only going to absorb as much as it needs. The rest you're literally like just washing down the drain.
Another one is, should you thatch or not thatch or dethatch? It is important because it helps prevent problems of compaction. Thatching it's what thatching is. It's removing the debris or the vegetation that has died that's at soil level, beneath or above the soil, but beneath the grass in which you can see grow. If you would take and go down and scrape it with your hand, you could possibly pick up a lot of grass clippings or things that have not broke down. Now, thatching can make a big difference because it prevents the fertilizer from getting to the soil. It creates a barrier where the fertilizer can't penetrate the soil, can't break down and feed the plant. So by thatching, they make rakes, manual, or they have machines in which you can thatch your yard, your lawn. It's up to you whether you do it or not, but there are some pros and some cons to thatching, as well as should you irrigating your lawn or not.
You mean aerating?
Aerating,
yeah.
yes.
So aerating is basically poking a bunch of holes
Right.
in your yard.
Allowing oxygen, water, and fertilizer to get subsoil to the root system. It looks damaging when it is done because it kicks these plugs out and it just got a big mess in the lawn. But after a few days, those plugs will break down, or rain or watering, and they will find their way back into the ground. But you're getting oxygen, you're getting water, you're loosening some of that soil up in order to get the nutrients and moisture to the soil and loosen and reduce some of that compaction. Some people don't want anybody walking on their lawn, and some people, a good lawn walking is very good for your feet.
That's called grounding.
Grounding.
Yeah. And grounding is the practice of walking barefoot on the yard or lawn or
soil,
whatever. And it's good for
if you understand it, it helps decharge. Is that what the right word is?
Basically, yeah.
And it's not really a hokey pokey thing. There's science that has proven this decharging of your body to the earth thing.
You're like literally becoming one with the earth.
Ta-da.
Ta-da!
Ignoring weeds and pests could be a mistake.
It could be a mistake. And with that being said, I do want to say it's okay to leave the dandelions. It's okay to leave XYZ or dig them up versus spraying them. And that's just my opinion. But I feel like you can live in harmony with the ecosystem, which is your grass and the weeds, but also be mindful that maybe you want the weeds gone, but be mindful of what you're possibly spraying on them and spreading around. So ignoring the weeds, yes. So if you have like a lot of those like pricker weeds, I don't know what they're called.
Thistles,
there we go. I would remove those, especially if you do like to walk around barefoot on your grass. I would take one of those little weed remover tool things that look like, I don't know. Prongs, there we go. Use that to remove those, and then otherwise, if you have pests, maybe you are laying in your grass, enjoying your grass, and you notice that there's some sort of grass pest and you're not sure what that is, you want to look into that.
Fun fact about the dandelions. We hear stories and we see stories and we know that neighbor that is out there and digging up every dandelion within, every piece of their property to make sure they don't come back, or they're out there spraying with chemicals. Dandelion, the puffers, the little seeds, can travel, average, about 27 miles. And now there has also been documented cases where they have found that dandelions have flown in the atmosphere from the East Coast to Europe and landed. How, I don't know. Believe that for what you want. But if you're spending all your time chemically and removal of dandelions in your yard, and you're yelling at your neighbors, you need to get rid of your dandelions too. You got a lot of neighbors in a 27-mile radius in which you're going to have to talk to in order to keep all the dandelion seeds from flying in. It's a it's the same concept of it's the third day of fall and 7 leaves have fell on the lawn, and there's this guy out there raking, and the tree is just laughing at him because he knows just wait until he goes in the house, and then the tree's going to dump the rest of the leaves on the lawn.
Right. This is part of living in harmony with the ecosystem that is your lawn.
You're never going to fix the problem.
You're never going to fix the problem. So the best thing for you to do is, again, to take, if dandelions bother you that much, move
to the desert.
Take your little prong tool, remove them out, do your best, whatever. They're going to come back next year, and I mean, even like where we live in our municipality, they don't spray those dandelions.
The medium in the road, there is literally 10 to 15, maybe 20,000 dandelions right now, and they'll come in about a week and mow them down right before they get puffy and they come back year after year.
Yeah, but they might not mow them before they get puffy, because I've seen that too.
Yeah.
So,
and it's the first food for bees.
It is the first food for bees.
One of the first.
One of the first. So, just because you don't have any dandelions in your yard, you're going to go shake your fist at City Hall and tell them to mow those dandelions down? I don't think so.
Well, Holly, now that the weather is starting to warm up and you want to protect your yard from those various beetles, weevils, borers, including Japanese beetles.
And what better way to prevent those pests from destroying your garden than by controlling them while they're larvae? Grub Gone is an easy-to-apply granule product that can spread on your turf to successfully control grub invaders. Developed by Phyllom bioproducts from a naturally occurring bacteria, Grub Gone is a non-chemical BT product that specifically targets only scarab pests, and it's safe to use around bees and other beneficial insects.
If you already have those beetles flying around your yard, Beetle Gone is an organic water dispersible powder that you can spray directly on your edible plants. To find out more at PhyllomBioproducts.com. That's PhyLLOM bioproducts.com. Hang out with us. The co-owner of Phyllom Bioproducts, John Libbs, will be with us momentarily to discuss what they offer and how it can benefit you in an organic manner. You're tuned into the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Your mosquito frustrations are over. Now with Mega Catch, suitable for residential and commercial use. Mega Catch mosquito traps produce a vast array of mosquito-attracted stimuli, including safe CO2, and can attract mosquitoes and other biting insects up to 150 feet away. Easy to use and set up. The Mega Catch is ready to make your outdoor space comfortable and enjoyable at megacatch.com. Use coupon code JOEYB, my name Joey B, at checkout and receive 20% discount on your entire trap order at megacatch.com. Water the right amount for the right time with the soaker hose from Eaton Brothers. Soaker hose is one of the best ways to water without drowning your plants. And with a timer, it becomes a set it and forget it way to keep your plants healthy and happy. Soaker hose is designed to work at low pressure, seeping water slowly and steadily over the course of 15 to 20 minutes so the water can percolate the soil and get to the roots. Designed and manufactured to be lead-free so no harmful chemicals or odors are added to your water supply. Visit EatonBrothers.com for more information and to buy. Have insects such as aphids or fungal gnats invaded your plants? Fight back with Summit Year-Round Spray Oil and Summit Mosquito Bits. Organic Summit Year-Round Spray Oil kills insect pests on indoor and outdoor plants. All natural mosquito bits kill fungal gnats larvae in container plants. Both products are harmless to people, plants, and wildlife. Summit Year-Round Spray Oil and Summit Mosquito Bit are available at garden centers, hardware stores, and at SummitResponsibleSolutions.com.
Garden like a pro in 3 easy steps and receive customized fertilizer recommendations for your garden or lawn. Soil Savvy helps you determine what nutrients your plants need to thrive. Never again over-apply nutrients they don't need. A patented process that makes you a smart gardener. To get your soil test kit, go to mysoilsavvy.com.
If you could double the life of your raised bed boxes by sealing the wood with a clear, non-toxic wood preservative, would you? Well, now you can with a clear, penetrating product called Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's 100% non-toxic and easy to apply. Seal your untreated wood surfaces, even chicken coops, by spraying on Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's invisible, seals the wood from the inside out, and never wears off. Recommended by organic gardening experts. Internal Wood Stabilizer. Check it out at timberprocoatingsusa.com.
Transform your exterior wood surfaces with Rubio Monocoat's new Duro Grit. Say goodbye to multiple coats thanks to Duro Grit's incredible patented one-layer technology. Enjoy vibrant, durable color that won't peel or flake even in the harshest conditions. Rubio Monocoat Duro Grit is tomorrow's UV protection for exterior wood. Learn more at RubioMonocoatUSA.com. Use code JOEY for 10% off. That's RubioMonoCoatUSA.com.
Watering is the key to a healthy garden, but it can take up a lot of your time. Water less with Soil Moist. Grow beautiful plants with less water. Soil Moist polymers reduce your plant's watering by 50%, reduce transplant shock and soil compaction, and are effective in your soil for 3 to 5 years. It is an effective watering management aid that is ideal for internal and external plantings, such as trees, shrubs, containers, baskets, flower beds, vegetables, and turf. Soil Moist acts as a form of insurance for your plants and is environmentally friendly. It is easy to apply at the time of planting or transplanting. Spend more time doing what you enjoy and let Soil Moist work smarter for you. Bolster your plant's nutrient and water uptake with Soil Moist. Enhance microbial and plant growth. No need to spend extra time worrying about watering your plants. Easy to follow instructions right on the label. To find where to purchase and to see all their products, contact your local garden center or visit soilmoist.com. Welcome back to the Garden with Joe and Holly radio show. Thank you for being with us today. Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
John Libbs is the CEO and co-founder of Phyllom Bioproducts and has a background in biological science. Welcome to the program, John.
Yeah, thank you, Holly. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John, for being with us on the program. Just so we have clear transparency, the Phyllom Bioproducts is a sponsor of the program. You heard it just before the break. They've been with us. This is their 5th year sponsoring the program, so we greatly appreciate the support there. And I want to start out with, why are these pests, these beetles, these grubs, and these borers so hard to target specifically? What's unique about them, unlike other insects that are out there?
Well, this group of insects isn't necessarily any more difficult to target specifically. By targeting, meaning you develop a type of insecticide that will only work or perform, or let's be honest, kill a certain pest, insect, and not necessarily other insects which are beneficials, maybe such as ladybugs, bees, butterflies, or even develop products or insecticides that are not toxic to other types of organisms like fish, birds, people, your pets. So it's not as though these insects are specifically difficult. It's just it's a difficult process. And most of the chemicals, the reason they're more toxic is they're more broadly toxic. That they basically, kind of simple sciences, the molecules that work against the insects, they need to bind something in the insects, such as like imidacloprid, which has been a very popular chemical for a couple decades, was really the leader out there. It bound, basically neurons, and it didn't only bind neurons in insects, but also every other organism walking around or swimming around, including people. So that's why it's toxic. It would bind different tissues, neurons specifically in people, as well as these insects that it would kill. Then less toxic chemicals. The new darling in the market is acelepryn on the pro channel side, and it's Grubex on the retail side. It has a bit narrower spectrum of activity. It binds the chemical active, binds a little bit less broadly out there, but it still binds muscle receptors called rhyodine receptors in insects and stops molting, and that's the insect's molting, and that's how it kills insects there. But people and animals, pets, birds, they have rhyodine receptors in their muscles, like your heart muscle. And so even a safer chemical still binds more broadly than, let's say, some of the biologicals like our product. So, so to develop a biological like ours or non-chemical, it's a very laborious process. So there's two ways you could do it. You could do a pretty deep screening, for BT based products or bacillus based products. Typically you go out in the environment and you dig up soil samples, or you get samples out of dead insects, and you go into the lab and you tease out of those samples different biological organisms. And if you hit on a type of bacterium called bacillus, genus of bacteria that's growing in a dead beetle, let's say, then you try to isolate that and you start testing it to see if it is indeed active against a beetle. And what happens with these sorts of biologicals, they are much more specific. Like you'll not find the same bacterium in maybe a dead ant that caused the ant to perish that you would in a beetle, let's say. And the other, and that's more of a natural biological that you're going out there and you're digging up a bunch of samples, or you're looking for a bunch of samples, and you're doing a huge screening process of thousands and thousands of samples to try to figure out what's in the secret sauce of that particular natural sample that you dug up, let's say, try to figure out what killed the insect. Then there's genetic engineering that you can use, and that it's more eloquent science, and folks are trying to develop kind of more non-chemical, more genetically engineered products out there that would be insecticides. And they look for, let's say, parts of an insect that are really specific to an insect and not to mammals or other animals, and target that specific part of, let's say, the DNA to try to develop a kind of more of a non-chemical, genetically engineered product. But, again, that's not a natural product. It's probably, if they do the science right, will be a lot more specific than developing a chemistry or a chemical product in the lab. So it no matter what target pest you're going after, it's sort of the same process, and it's very laborious any way you go. But the bottom line is, like our product, or our active ingredient, is very targeted. We set out to find something that would work against beetles that was out in the environment. We actually found this in a dead beetle, this particular bacterium, and we had a bunch of different samples to screen, and this one became the lead. And then you have to better understand the bacterium. You have to understand what's in the bacterium that killed the insects, and that involves, molecular biology, microbiology, protein chemistry, and you drill down on that. And we understood the protein, and we were experts in BTs and the cry proteins that are the insecticidal proteins, natural proteins in these types of products. So we knew what we were doing, and then we got a little bit lucky.
So tell us more about the Phyllom bioproducts and what makes them unique, more specifically.
Yeah, so what really does make it unique is this particular protein active ingredient. We call it BTG, capital BTG. It really does specifically target scarab beetles, in particular. That includes grubs, and it binds a receptor in the gut of the target pest. So it'll bind this receptor, which is another protein. So you got a protein binding a protein, and it causes a pore in the insect gut, and it's like an ulcer. And what happens is the bug stops feeding, and then the guts kind of spill out, and the rest of the insect spills into the gut, and it eventually dies. And it works really, really well. There's a lot of strong binding there for biochemical reasons, strong binding. And then for the adult, what really makes it special, this particular BT and natural protein, is that it actually binds a second receptor in the adult target pests. So like adult Japanese beetle or adult emerald ash borer, and there's borers that are beetles, or even the annual bluegrass weevil, which is a turf pest, and it works against the larvae and the adults there. The protein binds a second receptor that pops up in these adult beetles, and that's very, very rare for a BT based protein. That's why ours is really the only one that has real good adulticide activity that you can count on out there in the market.
Well, is there a better time to switch to an organic or a non-chemical product for people who are like, well, when is it more like, when is the best time to plant a tree, either today or 10 years ago? Should you switch right away, or is there things to be considering?
Yeah, it's kind of a case-by-case basis. I mean, people are trying hard to develop non-chemicals. It's a tough deal. So it's sort of a case-by-case. I mean, our type of technology is registered, obviously, and by that, you go through EPA, and you do a lot of tox studies. So you know the product and the tox profile, whether it actually kills bees or other pollinators, or is toxic to birds or fish, or all of that. So you go through that process, but you also go through a process where you turn in performance data, like field trial data and bioassay data into the EPA. And so it's a deep dive review. It's almost like, let's say, registering a drug, where you got to prove the performance and the lack of toxicity. And so, there's a lot of products out there that are kind of retread, where they don't have to go through that process. They're not registered, and they're not under the guidance of EPA or USDA. And I've seen a couple oils come out on the market for grub control lately. One's Jonathan Green, and I think there's Truly Organic branding. And I mean, they're oils. They're not going to work that well. They don't have to go through the EPA and prove they work. It's sort of testimonial. You probably get a little control, and I'd say, a lot of these products out there that are non-chemical, you're probably killing maybe 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10 bugs that you're targeting at best. It's not like our products or the chemicals, which, I mean, you're counting on 8 out of 10 or 8 or 9 out of 10 or more. So it's pretty much low-level performance, and there's really no review or much accountability, but it's kind of a sweet deal for some of these non-chemical products that are not registered, because they can kind of put a lot of marketing statements out there, but they don't have to prove anything, right? So there's a lot of that out there. I kind of call the oils snake oils. I'm sure there's a few people that use them. Neem oil people spray for flying insects, and it doesn't really target. It just gums up the mouth parts of the insect, so the insect can't eat. And unfortunately, with like a neem oil, like bonide cells, it works against butterflies and bees the same way it does any other insect. So they really aren't that targeted, some of these products. And it's just, it's a tough deal finding active ingredients that are non-chemicals that work. That's sort of the bottom line. But hey, if anybody out there sees an anthill with a bunch of dead ants laying around, and they know it wasn't sprayed with a chemical, hey, gather up those ants and take them to a lab and try to figure out what killed them.
Well, your product, Phyllom Bioproducts, it's designed for the beetles, grubs, and borers, but it doesn't affect the beneficial insects. These companies that do not or are not able to prove that, and their chemical does affect those beneficial insects, do they not care, or is it more of a, well, this is where we're at, we'll take your money, you just be careful, and since you're using it, you're responsible now?
Well, it's a little bit of that. I think, the responsible brands will say, hey, it's a lot of it's about point of contact as well. So, like let's say a neem oil, don't spray it when the bees are foraging out there. So don't use it early morning, late at night when the bees are out there foraging. Don't spray directly on the bees, and maybe you won't have point of contact with other beneficial insects. So there's other elements to this where you can even use a chemical, or maybe a more broad spectrum biological non-chemical, and still kind of minimize the risk to the let's say insects out there that you do not want to kill. But yeah, it's you just got to be careful, I guess.
Right. Well, John, we greatly appreciate the time you've offered us. How can people find more information about the Phyllom bioproducts? And if they have questions, how can they reach you?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So you can, if you'd like to order product, we have a website up called beetlegone.com, and that's Beetlegone with an E at the end. So BEETLEGONE.com. You can order a product there. You can go to our website for more information. We have more background information and data there. So you can learn a little more about the company. That's at PhyllomBioproducts.com, PhyLLOM as in Mary, bioproducts.com. And, you can hit info at Phyllom there, or I pick up the line and talk with customers all the time. My number is 650-296-2574. You can give me a call.
Well, John, thank you so much. One, for being a sponsor of the program, and two, for doing the work and protecting the beneficial insects out there and caring about them, unlike maybe some other companies don't.
Hey, you bet. We'll keep looking for more good biologicals. We're always looking around there to help customers out and take care of their needs. More with a targeted approach and more safely for everything else. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate the time, Joey, Holly.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And when we come back, it's Your Garden Questions, Our Garden Answers. You're tuned into the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now, 1-800-927-SHOW.
Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online. Deer Defeat is an all-natural based animal repellent to keep deer and rabbits away from your valuable plants that is odorless after 30 minutes and dries clear. It creates a continuous, invisible shield to protect your plants. Works for 30 days through rain, snow, and freeze. Will not clog your sprayer. Apply to your property without environmental damage. You can spray directly onto your plants up to flowering, then apply around your plants to continue protection. No need to reapply. Money back guarantee. To purchase, go to deerdefeat.com and use coupon code RADIO to save 10% off your order.
Blue Ribbon Organics, providing locally made organic compost and soil blends for gardeners, farms, landscaping, and more. To find our products nearest you, visit blueribbonorganics.com.
Happy 65th anniversary to David J. Frank, Southeastern Wisconsin's leading landscape company. Their award-winning services include everything from lawn care, landscape maintenance, design, construction, renovation, irrigation, sustainability, and more. Big or small, let the experts at David J. Frank handle the hard work for you. Find out more at davidjfrank.com. Goodbye, biting bugs and plant invaders. No More Bugs by Naturally Green Products is your answer. No More Bugs is DEET-free and not sticky on your skin. USDA certified, No More Bugs has been a favorite by consumers across the country for over 14 years. More than a repellent, it is safe for you, your plants, pets, and home. Available online at nomorebugs.net, Amazon, Walmart.com, and the Home Shopping Network.
Rootmaker starts your plants off right and keeps them going through harvest. From their seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots to their large variety of grow bags, 1 to 60 gallons. Their products will provide you the harvest you've never seen before. Visit rootmaker.com. Use coupon code ROOT24 to save 15% off your order at rootmaker.com. That coupon code is ROOT24 to save 15% off your order at rootmaker.com. Straw bale gardening is all the rage. Get your bale started easily with the Bale Buster Straw Bale Conditioning Formula. This is the only product that has been specifically formulated for use in straw bale gardening. Each unit contains 250 million colony-forming units of trichoderma, fungi, and Bacillus bacteria. In addition to the fertilizer itself, produces fantastic results with a bountiful production of vegetable crops. Start with the best to get the best, traditional or organic formula. Take the guesswork out of conditioning your straw bale. Go to balebuster.com to find out more. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. Time for your questions, our answers. If you've got a question, fire it on over here at gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Whether you're listening on the radio, podcast, in-studio video replay, certainly do that. You can also give us a call anytime to 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. We'll see what we can get through to the top of the hour. All right. How much does it matter? How much does it help soaking large seeds, corn, peas, squash, beans? Does it help? Does it hurt? What's the good thing here?
Yeah. So seeds all have a seed coat. Basically, is the outside harder portion of the seed. If you open something like a pumpkin seed, sunflower seed, you're eating the seed coat. If you
the meat of it,
yeah, the meat is inside in the seed coat. So even the smaller seeds have that. It's just more smaller, right? So soaking seeds such as corn and squash seeds, etc., okra. People soak okra, even pea seeds. Does help. It does help the germination. Is it required? No, but it can help. So if you are like, hey, I want to give my seeds a little boost. You're bored on a Friday night, you want to soak some seeds, I say go for it.
Well, that's good and all, but be aware of how much you are going to plant, which means how much are you going to soak. If you only need 40 pea seeds and you soak a whole pound of them, you got to go somewhere with those pea seeds because you're not really a good shot of letting them dry back out.
Well, that's part of your Friday night fun.
Yeah,
you go out to your garden
in the dark with flashlight.
With flashlight, figure out, make your neighbors wonder what you're doing.
Now, large seeds. Now, carrots or parsnips or radishes, don't worry about soaking them. It's not going to be beneficial. But seeds like this, also okra. You can soak okra seeds in 2% milk, and that lactic acid in the milk will help break down the seed coating. And these seeds you want to soak for maybe 12 hours. I wouldn't go any more than really 12 hours. Get them hydrated and go there.
Okay, so I have several established apple and pear trees. I don't like to spray, but I do end up with much of a harvest and decide to try spraying. So I'm looking for something organic. I have red sulfur is a good option, but sometimes I've only found granules. Could you recommend a product or some other suggestions? Keep the informative shows coming. So there's lots of good organic options at your local garden center, and depends on the issue.
Independent garden center.
Yeah, independent garden center. It depends on the issue. I don't have this listener didn't indicate what the issue was. Essentially, it sounds like maybe
one more of a broad answer to kind of give a direction.
Right. So it comes to, there's oils, copper, lime, sulfur. Those products are applied when the foliage is on the tree. You can cause phytotoxicity, which is damage or burning of the leaves. So if it's ever like, even late fall is a little bit iffy. You want to do something like definite winter. So once all the leaves have dropped from the tree up until the point before budding, you are safe to spray whatever it could be on that tree. So it's typically like December, January, February, you're safe, depending on where you are, maybe March. Like here where we are, March is fine. So what you want to do is you want to go to your local independent garden center, speak with them about your issue, and then see what they have, and then that's when you would spray it on the tree.
If you can get photographs and then show the person at the independent garden center, here's what I'm dealing with, that usually can help accelerate and get a better diagnosis of what the issue is. When applying any of these things on a fruit tree, as well as fertilizer or any type of chemical, organic or non-organic, follow the instructions. If it says X amount per gallon of water, that's what you need to do, is X amount per gallon of water. Just don't go, well, if it says 1 cup per gallon, I'm going to give her 2 cups because that means it's going to get better faster. That's not how that works. Don't waste your money by doing more, because you can also increase the damage. You can also damage more than you are going to help by not following the instructions. It seems like a simple thing, but people don't follow the instructions. This is not putting a table together that you got from IKEA. This is spraying chemicals, organic or non-organic, on a tree, on your lawn, on your vegetables.
Right. So another question is how do you know when to water?
Yes and no. Your mileage may
That wasn't
vary.
a yes or no question.
Your best indicator of when in containers or raised beds or ground is your finger. Push your finger in the soil. If it feels damp, down, go all the way down past your knuckle. If it feels damp, you don't need to water. The key to healthy vegetables in any atmosphere or any situation is damp soil, not wet, damp like a sponge. If you bring your finger out and it's bone dry, you've probably waited too long to water. Root maker, in your grow bags, you got Dripworks irrigation system, you got Eaton Brothers soaker hoses and timers in order to constantly keep the soil moist, not damp. Because when you dry your soil out, it takes a tremendous amount of water to rehydrate it. Secondly, you can, by drying the soil out, prevents the plant from uptaking moisture, which can damage the cell walls, which can inhibit and introduce diseases and infestation of bugs. A weak plant is a susceptible plant to insects. So there's no direct this is how much you need to water, and this is how often. It all depends on many different environmental factors in your backyard. But be vigilant and either be proactive and have a system set up where it's constantly giving moisture to the soil, or you're constantly checking on a daily basis. So with that being said, we come to the portion of the program of what we learned today. I learned that there is a tremendous amount of deep diving into the formulation of a natural insect chemical, organic, in order to kill beetles, grubs, and Japanese beetles and larvae.
Right, that's pretty amazing. I learned that dandelions can travel across the Atlantic Ocean, apparently, and go overseas.
At least 27 miles locally.
Least 27 miles locally.
Domestically.
Domestically. Are these domestic dandelions?
I don't know.
What we learned today is brought to you by honeybeehealthy.com. Whether you're a gardener, bee hobbyist, or professional beekeeper, Honey Bee Healthy has the products to help you maintain a healthy and thriving garden. For more information on how to use Honey Bee Healthy Inc. in your garden, visit honeybeehealthy.com.
When we tune in next week to the program where we'll be discussing trellising as well as waterscaping. Our guest is Carol Connar, the editor, the 14th editor since in the history of the Old Farmer's Almanac, and we'll talk about container gardening with her. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.